Good afternoon. The theme of today's program is breastfeeding. There are a lot of questions concerning breastfeeding, such as when, whom, how long, how. Today we'll answer the question how, but we will also discuss others. Let's go. How to breastfeed. It's very interesting. Good afternoon, dear friends. Good afternoon, Louisa. Let's start with you. How did the subject of breastfeeding affect you? How much did you succeed in it, and did you succeed at all? Yes, I did. I was breastfeeding for 8 months. For 8 months, Louisa believes that 8 months is an achievement, and by and large, I agree with her. How many women can't reach the result of 8 months? And what do our experts think about breastfeeding? Mother starts nursing her baby after his birth. The baby should be breastfed. This is specially ordained by nature because they don't have teeth and can't gnaw anything. Milk is tasty. I don't remember exactly what color it was. Probably it was white. They drink a lot of milk. And when they stop doing it, then fall asleep. I'd been drinking and drinking the milk, and it drank it all up. Mother's milk is useful. Babies should drink it so they don't get sick. When my brother is hungry, he starts crying. And then mom takes him in her arms and nurses. Mother takes her breast and squeezes it in such a way. They take it and press it as hard as they can, and milk starts flowing. First, I drank from mother's boobie, and then, when I was 2, I drank from my bottle. I don't know how long they suckle. They suckle till 7 years old, until 8, till 6, till 10 years, or they suckle for a very long time. The topic of breastfeeding is really everlasting, and even our children answered a lot of questions. What to drink, when to drink, how long to drink, and how much to drink. Nevertheless, today, we would like to talk about how long. What is the regularity? How often? By and large, so many doctors, so many opinions. And of course, every mother has a lot of questions. And by the way, we are discussing this at the latest meeting. Yes, and Snizhana Egorova, a mother of 4 children, had an appointment with you. And she tried to breastfeed each of them. Nevertheless, even having 4 children, she has a lot of questions. Let's look. Let's look. Snizhana Egorova is an experienced mother. Together with Anton Muharsky, they are raising Nastya, Sasha, Andrei, and another daughter of theirs has been born recently. How to nurse the baby correctly. Experience is important. We can't scorn the advice of Dr. Komarovskiy. Snizhana thought, and as soon as she had a spare minute, she came to visit him. I wonder, the breasts can be different sizes. It means that a system of milk production functions in different ways. Maybe not all women have enough quantity of milk. There are women who can, without a problem, express a full bottle of milk, and others can only have a certain quantity. Of course, without a doubt, a genetic factor is definitely present. Another thing is the fact that a person differs from other other mammals by the ability to regulate all its functions by the cerebral cortex. And it's not astonishing that the cerebral cortex has great influence on the process of lactation. By the way, what was Andrei fed with? Unfortunately, Andrei was a problematic boy. In that regard, he turned to be lazy at suckling. Because first I was nursing him and planned to continue it for a long time. Because I had been nursing my older daughter as well and my middle child for a long time. That's why I hadn't had any questions concerning which way to choose. But for some reason, Andrei didn't like it. At a certain moment, when I was breastfeeding him, the milk streamed into his mouth. He didn't like that. He was choking with it and spit. And when he had to suckle, it was easier for him to suck from a bottle. For about a month, we had been feeding him in such a way, we were tormented. Afterwards, I had to change. By the way, do you remember how much he gained in weight during that month? He lost some weight. Now this question is of great importance to me because I brought my daughter from the maternity house and she's lost about 150 grams in the maternity house after 3 days. That's quite normal. For the first week, she lost another 100 grams, and I made a decision to feed her with baby formula. So I gave her one breast, then another, and she takes everything she can suck out of them, and then I gave her baby formula. Yes, I have a sister, Arina Mandarina. We call her lovingly in such a way. Mother, at least theoretically, should set a definite goal. What do I want? The mother believes that she doesn't have enough milk. But again, the mother has to understand clearly what the quantity of milk depends on. On what? The most intensive way of milk production, the thing that stimulates the milk production, is exactly nipple stimulation during the process of suckling. So in fact, there are two stages. First one is called lactation formation. The first 1-2 months are the most critical. It is very important that when the mother begins to feeling nervous because of lack of milk, and her baby, instead of suckling her and stimulating milk production, fills up with formula and falls asleep. As a matter of fact, that is the end of breastfeeding. I agree with you, doctor, but being a responsible mother, I have read much literature about this. And now, in contrast to the former, so as to say, theories concerning the fact that a baby should be fed on a schedule, that is, should eat every 3 hours. Milk is coming up, and by the moment it was already come out, and 3 hours later, the baby can eat the necessary quantity. Now I know that all, or at least many breastfeeding specialists advise to feed babies on demand. In other words, we give them as much milk as they want. In principle, I wouldn't mind my baby hanging on me and putting her from one breast to another. I would be against. Anyway, I tried to do that, but because of my shifting her from one breast to the other, my milk was over. And in principle, in the moment she was suckling, here I felt milk flowing up in another breast. I gave her that breast, but she demanded more. So she started crying and became nervous. Listen, this is a fundamental mistake which lies in the fact that when you feel you have nothing to give her, and if nothing, then there isn't any sense of putting the baby to the breast. But on the contrary, there is a sense when nothing comes up because the process of suckling, intensive one, even of the empty breast, is a signal to the center which regulates lactation to produce milk. And if the baby's crying, listen, your baby can't be crying for a long time. If she's crying for a long time, what will you do? There's no milk. The baby is crying, and you will hurry up to prepare baby formula. It's normal. I did so, in fact. God forbid blaming you. As long as last, the mother has another 3 children, a pile of work, and the mother can't just for social reasons afford to take a baby at her breast for several days to have enough milk. Let's imagine the worst case when the baby demands, cries, the mother carries him, there is no milk, and she puts him into her breast. How long can this torture last? Personally, I consider that this experience is an attempt to implement exclusive feeding at any cost, and it can last for about 3 days. So the baby is suckling and continue feeding. Therefore, it is important to make up your mind that everything will be all right. Your milk will emerge and everything will be normal. And here appears such a vicious circle. On the one hand, an intensive suckling by even a very hungry baby, leads to increasing the milk quantity, but the fact that the mother is in a stressful situation when every minute she thinks that her poor little baby is starving, losing weight, sure. There are really objective reasons for mother being worried. And here, there is a contradiction, and the more intelligent to the mother, the more contradiction appears. I'm a clever mother, and I was ready. That's why it is very important that there should be someone to help you, your mother, then husband, who will give you an opportunity to sleep between the wails. Because the mother should sleep enough. If she doesn't sleep enough, she won't have milk and so on. We have to believe that we will win. But if 3 days have passed and milk doesn't appear, yes. The baby loses weight, yes. We will, because if we live in civilization to feed up our babies with formula of high quality. So in my case, I did the same, doctor. Was it the correct choice? Of course. You approve, doctor. You did what you had to do because protein deficiency in early age influences the formation of many systems. And a chronic shortage of weight in such an age is something your baby doesn't need at all. The last thing I would like to ask you in the end, should I try once again to breastfeed? Snizhana, if you really have such an opportunity, first of all, how much does your baby weigh now? 4.6 kilograms. How much weight did you put on? 1 kilogram. But a baby should put on 600 grams of weight in the first month, and your baby has put on 1 kilogram? The thing is that now you are overfeeding her. It is evident that you give her too much. Does it mean that I can, by little, give up complementary feedings and try to be patient? There are a lot of questions, and I'll gladly answer them. Nevertheless, I know that we have a lot of people here who are quite experienced in breastfeeding and do it professionally. Tell me, please, what bit of what you have heard here that you completely disagree with? The first thing that got my attention is when Snizhana said that you need to wait for the moment that the breast begins to feel full. That's a very frequent problem for mothers who try to do that. They wait for milk to come up. And the breast doesn't understand it. Because I disagree with is that everything is regulated by the cerebral cortex. Because lactation is an ancient process known for millions of years. It is regulated by other things. Breast reacts only on its emptying. I mean on the nipple stimulation and emptying. Well, let me comment on that. According to medical science, what you've just said are mere slogans and not supported by any research. Medical science believes that all functions of human body are regulated by the cerebral cortex. In fact, this is what differs us from other animals. Emotional state of a woman has an essential influence on the process of lactation. Emotions are a reflection of everything. With regard to the stimulation of the center for milk production, constant suckling 24 hours a day is very good. For that reason, the World Health Organization, together with UNICEF, has formed 10 steps to successful breastfeeding, one of which is breastfeeding on demand, but not scheduled. And these principles are applied to newborn period, which according to the World Health Organization is the period for the first 28 days of life. This is what the World Health Organization claims. That's why I believe that during the colostral period, when the baby is little, a newborn, and there is not enough milk, the more the baby is at the breast, the better. What's more, there is a clear principle. Dynamics of the baby's state and weight gain. We really need to keep an eye on that. This is my opinion. It can differ from yours, and it does. I am a neonatologist. And you're absolutely right. When you say that emotional state of a woman influences breastfeeding, it influences in the way that it inspires women with self-distrust. And our task is to support them in their wish. Yes, it is very important, but not a crucial component. The thing is that if a woman really breastfeeds more, lactation increases. This is caused by many factors, not just emotional. Stress blocks the release of oxytocin, resulting in inhibiting the milk letdown, not the milk production. It doesn't affect the production of milk. And now, as for the breastfeeding frequency we're talking about, the breast size can differ. The physiological structure of the breast vary. That's why it will be enough for one woman to breastfeed every 3 hours, even a newborn. And the other woman will have to breastfeed every hour. Oh, look, we're going into detail. We consider the life of this baby in terms of a baby, his or her mother, and her breast. But besides the baby, his, her mother, and her breast, there's society, which influences this system even more than before the mentioned oxytocin and unmentioned prolactin and all the rest. Being a pediatrician, I perfectly know the value of breastfeeding. You don't have to convince me. But in order that recommendations are followed, first we need to be concerned not with the mother's breast, but her spouse. I'll explain why. Because in many developed countries, people reproduce when they have everything ready, when the family is ready for the baby. As for our country, a woman lets a boy become the father of her child the next day after a nice dance. And he doesn't think about breastfeeding. And this advice on the round-the-clock breastfeeding ends up with the fact that a baby has breast milk, but no daddy. Do you agree with me? Absolutely. I don't like it because our country is mentally not ready for it. First of all, we must teach people how to save their marriages. My deepest conviction is that a baby, even more than milk, needs a mother who is loved by the father and who finds time not only for a baby, but her family. As a doctor, I am constantly coming across a big amount of families that break down just because the mother had read lots of books on the necessity of constant breastfeeding, so she was breastfeeding all the time. However, fathers don't read these books, and they find themselves in a situation where they're left out of the family life. Dr. Komarovskiy, I'm sorry, but you're exaggerating. Me? Exaggerating? This is what I can tell you about exaggerating. I'm a practitioner, not a theorist. Let me tell you, daily I'm faced with the problem of missing father because the mother has read something silly. I can even show you my mailbox for you to understand that I have at least 200 letters a day. And I receive letters which say that feeding on demand was successful 10 times less than otherwise. And that's why we either adjust the educational system or teach mothers how to solve the problems caused by this breastfeeding technique. First things first, we can speak about this breastfeeding technique, but we have a declaration. Do it the following way. When people take it and reach a deadlock, then no one can help. Only baby formula can help in this case. This is my point of view, and I'm ready to answer questions about it. Questions? Mothers are interested to know about older children who are breastfeed. We began with round-the-clock breastfeeding. Do we need to nurse so frequently now? This is a matter of principle. When you breastfeed your baby at this age, this is not about feeding anymore. As a matter of fact, it's a communication model of behavior pattern. Can it be a bad habit? Should I wean my child from breastfeeding? I personally believe that instead of the time you breastfeed, you could always express your love and care with a lot of human, not mammal ways. And I believe that you can and should stop breastfeeding your baby at this age. Because if a woman plays with her baby instead of breastfeeding all the time, she will show enough love towards her baby. What about nighttime? The same. At night, you will nurse your husband. It's also useful. My baby drives him out. And here we have a jungle law. You see, there is an inherited biological hierarchy of a pack. Hierarchy. In no normal society, babies dictate to the leaders their own behavior pattern. In your family, everything is vice versa. Baby decides where the father will sleep. Whose problem is that? You want a pill that will drive your baby out of the bed, don't you? It's not going to happen. My firstborn is 10 years old already. I was breastfeeding him for 20 months. And back then, 10 years ago, doctor recommended expressing milk after each feeding. I had a lot of breast milk, so I even expressed a little milk before feeding so that my baby could get fattier milk. And then I expressed milk after feeding. Now my second child is 6 months old, and he doesn't get enough milk. In this connection, I have a question. Can it be caused by the recommendation of not expressing milk after breastfeeding? If you have chosen the method of round-the-clock feeding, feeding on demand, I think there is a sense of expressing milk during the colostral period. If your baby is constantly near the breast and it's more physiological, and it really stimulates the nipple more efficiently, nevertheless, now it's advised not to express, as a result of the cases of lactational mastitis having increased. And I can see it in real, actual life. Tell me, please, what should a breastfeeding mother eat so that it's useful for the baby? Can I eat the food I ate before my pregnancy? As a matter of fact, it is a big delusion if you think that food eaten by you can be useful or not for your baby. In fact, your baby, to put it simply, will suck everything he or she needs out of you. That's why when you try to eat healthy, nutritious food, take a complex of vitamins during your pregnancy and breastfeeding period, you do it to be the most beautiful and nice. You do it for your hair, nails, skin, husband, and your future children. That is why you need to have a nutritious diet. As for your baby, he or she will suck out everything he or she needs, but only at the expense of your health. That's why when you talk about diverse good nutrition, you talk about your health, not the baby's. I would like to ask about weight. You were talking with Snizhana that weight gain of 1 kilogram on complementary feeding is a lot. A lot of mothers use complementary feeding now. Is it possible to overfeed your baby when breastfeeding? Does a baby regulate himself? I've been convinced for quite a while that it is possible to overfeed a baby when breastfeeding. And let me explain why. Here and there, our babies are faced with so-called pathological or unnatural liquid loss because they are in the room with high temperature and low humidity. And moisturizing dry, inhaled air, the baby is losing a great amount of water. The authors of modern breastfeeding recommendations say not to give a baby a human milk substitute, in particular water. And babies are crying not because they want to eat, but because they want to drink. And they are breastfed every 20 minutes, not because they are hungry, but because their throat is parched because of dry, warm air. This is very important, so that before remembering the recommendations of not giving drinks to babies during breastfeeding period, mothers should keep in mind the humidity and temperature parameters of the room the child is in. And only then those recommendations will make any sense. That is what I want to tell you. Dr. Komarovskiy, it is not recommended to wean a baby from breastfeeding in the summertime. What if it has happened? How can we choose nutrition for a baby properly? In fact, when nutrition changes from breastfeeding to general feeding, when a baby starts eating whatever he or she sees, the risk of enteric infection increases. And naturally, In the summertime, the risk of enteric infection increases. Therefore, there used to be a recommendation to wean a baby from breastfeeding in winter, when the risk of enteric infection decreases. If the mother knows what hygiene is, she knows how to wash her hands and how to cook properly, she can wean her child at any time of the year. It's not a fundamental issue. Dr. Komarovskiy, what if we have an extreme situation? The mother must leave, so she leaves her baby at the grandmother's, and she has express milk. Can she store this milk in the freezer? Does milk lose its useful properties? She can definitely do that. The only thing you must clearly know is that it's strictly forbidden to use a microwave oven for unfreezing or even warming milk. But you can warm it using a so-called water bath. Well, my dear friends, the theme of breastfeeding is everlasting, and we promise to come back to it and discuss as many disputable questions as possible. Nevertheless, breastfeeding is an entirely family matter. Breastfeeding cannot be compared with complementary feeding in terms of its usefulness. Good parents must do everything possible to ensure breastfeeding. But the whole family. The breastfeeding mother needs help. I hope you understood the principles of help. See you in a week.